make and fire my sculptures from my mum's house in Frankston, which is a suburb just outside of Melbourne. It's where I grew up. I feel I can breathe out here. It's one of the last houses in the street that hasn't turned their block of land into a block of units. It still has the big shed that my dad built with our kiln still in there. I'm able to use it and make the most of it and enjoy that magic that I feel will one day not be there. Having this studio that I've grown up in, where I'm completely comfortable, everything's sort of in its place. And then you go out into this wild world and, people are crazy, people are weird, funny, lovely, whatever. And you're experiencing all of that. And then you're bringing it back to, this sort of safety net of this studio that is kind of in my blood. I could have moved this studio somewhere closer to where I live, but there's something nice, there's that nostalgia that I feel really come through in the work, and it's kind of important. Mum taught me how to throw on a wheel. She taught me all those little ins and outs. Dad taught me how to paint, how to mix oils. So I feel like coming back to my studio once a week or whenever I'm there is a nice way of kind of checking in. A lot of the objects in the kiln room fade into the background. You kind of forget about all these shelves and all these pots and all these sort of discarded objects. They're there, but they're not a part of it. They've got nothing to do with the immediacy of the firing process. When you do the firing, turn it on and some of that is out of your control. There's always a surprise. There's always a surprise, no matter how much you think you've got it worked out. There's always something where you're like, oh, hello, I wasn't expecting that, That's nice, because that's the most exciting part, is to see how this work's turned out, what they are, because that's like the birthing stage, really. When you open that door, it's like, okay, welcome to the world.
The way I came to be here, actually in Deep Bay in the Huon, was in fact quite a roundabout way, because the intention was to come down into the area and be a mad sailor, because the waterways down here are absolutely fantastic. But as it turned out, we were so taken with living down here that we've sold that boat. And then we came up across this property, and the property had this extraordinary serendipitous event, and that was that it was on a seam of clay. And I suppose that was one of the first things that suggested that I actually start potting again. That was an inspiration and made me really want to establish myself here again as a full-time potter in the Huon. Very proud of being in the Huon, I have to say. Love every opportunity of mentioning that I'm from Deep Bay, Huon Valley, Tasmania, and have great joy in being able to say that I am, although I'm not a fully fledged one, a Tasmanian. The clay that we have dug for the piers and the clay that we took out for the new water tanks has become, I don't know, a few tons of clay over there that I can just keep digging from and working with. You know, the whole process that goes into making just a single item. And each of those items is made by hand, by me. But I think this makes these particular works that I do made to be, made of Tasmania, which is one of my Instagram sites, Made of Tasmania. So these pots are a series that I created thinking about the forest around here and walking through the trees. I have to say that these colours that come through are really reminiscent of the beautiful gum trees that are around here. And the other thing that's really extraordinary looking out on the evenings here is the sunsets. And again, these are made out of the clay that I've dug just out of the studio. So here you have quite an array of pots and quite a story. Every pot has a story. The Huon Valley is an amazing place for creative coming together. There's so many creative people who've moved here and have been, established here, over a long period of time. I love looking out and seeing the vistas of the mornings, and breathing the fresh air and just knowing that this is a time to be grateful for being able to be here. But the actual natural colours and the landscape and what's turned out to be the people has given me the desire to sort of stay longer, dig deeper, and make more, and just let my, I suppose, creativity grow. And everyone is very generous with their time and their desire to be friendly. But again, I think it's just the wonderful piece. I wished I'd come here a lot earlier and had an opportunity to have really cemented myself within the valley. But it is a very, very beautiful place to live.
When I was growing up, my bedroom glowed neon pink, and there was always a shelf on the wall above my bed, and that's where I kept my most treasured items, which are still in my studio today. I was always drawn to the porcelain objects in my grandmother's cabinets. The shinier the better, the more elaborate details and designs, I was just drawn into them. Most of my artworks start from a connection to an object that I already possess from my childhood or that I wish I had. It's the childhood reverie that takes you back to. It's the mnemonic device of those objects that return you to that time where the world is still something that you're discovering. I want to recreate that, and the environments that I make out of this sugary, saccharine, delicious like confectionery becomes like an opera or a stage. They become alive, they become real in these moments. I come to my art practice using a traditional craft that is often associated with women's art or women's craft. Cake decorating is something that mothers do for their children. Everything that we celebrate in our culture often comes with a cake or something sweet. Women also have been throughout history described as sweet treats. It's the way that I see the world, it's the way that I communicate. It's also just telling stories through objects. I can't tell some of my stories, but I love putting them into the objects. Some of them hold secrets and hold memories that, you may never know. I may never know. It's almost like once I've made it, I either need to make it again and experience it in a different way, or I realise I'm done with that object. I've made its home, I've set it off into the world in a new way, and I can move on to another object.
I named my practice Erin's Window because by creating the window, it's like framing my practice. Without framing, it becomes too loose, too vague. But also by making that window, it creates the opening, not fully, but giving that opening for people to peep into my little world and have that connection starting to happen. My name is Erin Tsubono. I work as Erin's Window. I mainly work with clay, but I also love to draw. As a mother and as a child carer, we always said to children, follow your heart, believe in what you want to do. Then I looked at myself and I wondered if I was doing that myself. If I didn't have a child, I could have stayed in a corporate and do what I like to do beside as a hobby, which I actually lived like that until 39. But when I realized that there's a little child watching and how I live is going to impact her so much, it kind of gave me a courage to try do what I want to do, but give a best shot. I wanted my daughter to be growing up, watching me following my heart, making mistakes, going through challenges, but being able to create a simple life that I want. So she knows that it's possible, mom's happy. But I really loved what I was doing. I guess that's the only reason why it has worked so far. People say my work is innocent, whimsical, and childlike, peaceful. I'm definitely feeling peaceful making this. There's so many animals and motifs. They brings me back to my childhood, growing up with many animals in the mountainside in Japan. Among so many things that I've made, I think bell people are still my favorite items that I make. Almost that it has least function, but it's very important for me. It's a lady or girl with a tilted head, contemplating, and would normally have a bird or other animals and things from the nature. It's hollow. There's something for me about hollowness or the thin walls. You lift it up by holding her head and you can ring the bell because each are different. Each has a different sound, as if they can talk. I'm not trying to make something cool to people. I want the people to be reminded how comfortable and happy to be themselves, to feel it's okay. It's actually really lovely to be themselves. I see art as some sort of gluing between me and the people, among the people. So I open my garage every Saturday in the morning for 2 hours. People normally come in saying, I'm not creative, I've never done this before. Can I still come in? Of course they can. So what I do in the class is that ask what they want to make and help them make what they want to make. And as simple as that. And they can. After 2 or 3 sessions, they're already independent clay makers. It's actually not the technical barrier. It's actually a psychological barrier. The idea that they're not creative, they're not good enough, that other people can do better. I want to knock down that kind of ideas because it's not true. I believe that everyone is creative. All the children were creative and we were all children. I want people to realize that they are creative, very creative. They have so much to express and they are able to express without really going through art school or learning high techniques or skills, because it's already in them. Art practice is therapeutic when you're doing it with your heart without being self-conscious, because you're not acting, because you're not thinking too much about how you should be making, how you should be behaving, but just be you, just being yourself is very therapeutic. We don't have enough of that at the moment. We are creative. It means that we are actually more capable than we thought about many things, because you can handle things much better than we think. Once you realize about your own creativity, you kind of get that courage. And once you're mentally or emotionally a little bit more independent than before, then you don't need to depend on what other people think of you, or what society sees as good life, or what you should be doing. So all these things become a noise. Then you can really focus on what matters to you.
You know, we born here in this land, and it's belong to us, and we live here, and it is important for our people that we here in this land. We are now, we got stories in our head. It's in the campus and in the Sramik. Old people talking and showing the Tukurba, the Dreamtime stories. My name is Alison Julabi Carroll, and I'm from Annabella, and I'm the chairperson for the Art Center. This Art Center is important for old and young people to work together. Before it was only for the ladies working in the Art Center, no men. But in the middle, somewhere in the middle, they started asking the men to come in. It was a craft room only for the women. Today it's men and women working together in the Art Center. Young people are coming in the Art Center and working in the Sramik and making real good things, lovely ceramics. Young kids are growing here, and it's for them too, for our children to live here, for our future, We're still here. And when we die, those kids gonna take over. All those things, what I did a long time ago, we still got it. Kids learn from that, from mother and from grandmother, watching and learning and doing. I used to do that, learning from my mother. I'm Alison Millika Carroll. That's my name. I'm from Annabella. Long time ago, in our country, it used to be desert flowers and lots of things growing, May, willow, good food like kamprarpa. That's why we was thinking about putting it on a tank to show other peoples what the desert look like. Inside the tank, it's a copy of water. When the rain comes, everybody get happy, and they know the waterholes are full of water. When they're running to that waterhole, they sing this song. That means we're swimming in the water. This song is from long time, and it still gets singing this song. We used to go out and swim at the waterholes, catch a donkey and ride back home on the donkeys, So we put it together, a desert and the kapi, water inside, and the grass, weaving. I was talking to other ladies, can we make a wana and show that wana to young people to make wana? That wana is for taking, to get maku and to get jala onions. Maku is city crops. This wana is very important for the old people. They use this wana for everything. We go to bush and we get the wana, and then we clean it. Everybody was making the wana, and the other old ladies was talking to the young one about that wana. There's two. Wana for hunting and wana for culture, for ceremonies, for Enma, like dancing with wana. Then we put design it, walka. Walka means the design on the wana. We made that ceramic spears, and we put wana and ceramic together. And that wana is important for us, I know, for the future, for our young people to take it, to carry on. All those things from the past, to see it and to know that they still got it. They still got those things there in their home.